Raising another man's seed. The ultimate self-betrayal. Let's strip this down to the raw truth. Raising another man's child is the ultimate act of surrender. You're not just giving up your resources and time, you're relinquishing your very identity as a man. Every sacrifice you make becomes a testament to how little you value your own bloodline. It's not just about the day-to-day grind, it's about the bigger picture. Your life is a finite resource, your energy limited, and yet you're choosing to funnel it into a future that has no connection to you. That's not altruism, it's self-erasure. Now think about the ripple effect of this decision. You're not just forfeiting your legacy, you're setting a precedent for how men like you are viewed. You're telling society that it's okay to exploit a man's natural instincts to protect and provide without giving him anything in return. You're reinforcing the idea that a man's worth is defined by how much he's willing to sacrifice for someone else's mistakes. And let me tell you, society will take everything you offer and still expect more. By choosing this path, you're not just losing your identity, you're giving up your dignity, one thankless act at a time. And what happens when your efforts go unnoticed? You find yourself depleted, with no legacy and no respect. But let's go even deeper. The act of raising another man's child isn't just about what you give, it's about what you lose. Every moment you invest in someone else's legacy is a moment stolen from your own potential. You're not just trading your time and resources, you're trading your future. The energy you spend raising a child that isn't yours could have gone toward building your own family, your own bloodline. You're choosing to invest in something that will never truly reflect you, while your own lineage fades into the background. It's not just a personal loss, it's a generational one. A silent extinction of your name and your legacy. That's the true cost, and it's one you can never get back. The brutal truth. You're being used. The harsh reality is that you've been set up to fail. Everything about this situation is designed to make you the loser, the one who gives and gives until there's nothing left. The mother benefits because she gets the stability she lost. The child benefits because they gain a caretaker, and society benefits because someone is willing to fill the void left by another man's irresponsibility. But where do you fit in this equation? Nowhere. You're the mule carrying the load, the invisible force that keeps everything running while receiving none of the credit. And here's the deeper layer to this. The very people who praise you for stepping up don't truly respect you. They see you as a utility, a tool to fix a broken situation. When they talk about your sacrifice, it's with a mixture of pity and condescension. Because deep down, they know what you refuse to admit, that you're giving up everything and getting nothing in return. Even the child, as much as they might grow to love you, will always carry the shadow of the man who abandoned them. They might appreciate your efforts, but they'll never see you as the foundation of their identity. You're pouring your all into a role that society has glamorized, but it's a role built on manipulation. By the time you wake up to this truth, you may find yourself too invested to walk away without losing a part of yourself. Let's dig even deeper. The societal system that props up this dynamic thrives on men like you being blind to their own worth. You're praised for being the hero who steps in, but only because it absolves the real father of his responsibility and lets society avoid holding him accountable. Meanwhile, you're the one left shouldering the emotional, financial, and psychological burden. And the worst part? This dynamic is self-perpetuating. Every time a man like you steps into this role, you reinforce the expectation that others should do the same. You're not just being used. You're becoming an unwitting tool in a system that systematically exploits men's instincts to protect and provide. And when you're burned out and broken, society will move on to the next man willing to fill the same role. That's the brutal truth they'll never admit to your face. Legacy matters. Why this is the ultimate betrayal. Your legacy is more than just your bloodline. It's your contribution to the future. It's the imprint you leave on the world, the continuation of everything your ancestors fought for. And when you raise another man's child, you're erasing that legacy. You're choosing to divert your efforts away from building something that's uniquely yours to perpetuate someone else's name, someone else's blood, someone else's story. It's a decision that undermines everything that makes you a man. But here's the darker truth. This isn't just about your bloodline. It's about the psychological toll. Every time you pour into that child, every milestone you celebrate, every struggle you endure, you're reminded that none of it belongs to you. It's like building a monument and knowing your name will never be on the plaque. The emotional weight of that realization compounds over time, eating away at your sense of purpose and identity. You're not just sacrificing your legacy, you're sacrificing your very essence. Over time, this breeds a quiet resentment, not toward the child but toward yourself, for choosing a path that denies your own lineage and history the chance to thrive. And the pain doesn't end there. Imagine seeing that child grow up, reach milestones, and celebrate successes, while knowing they'll never carry your name forward. Every time they succeed, it's a reminder that you've spent years building someone else's dream while your own future fades into nothingness. It's not just your ancestors you're betraying, it's your descendants too. You've cut off the potential for your own family tree to flourish, replacing it with a hollowed-out version that bears no connection to you. That's the true weight of this betrayal. It's not just personal, it's existential. You're forfeiting the one thing that gives life meaning, the continuation of your own story, and no amount of societal praise or gratitude will ever fill that void. Why this isn't noble? The idea that raising another man's child is noble is one of the most insidious lies society has ever told. They've wrapped exploitation in a shiny package, labeling it as selflessness to make it easier for you to swallow. But let's rip that mask off and see it for what it really is. You're not being noble, you're being used. You're being manipulated into sacrificing your identity, your future, and your legacy for the sake of appearances. The worst part? Society doesn't care about you. The same people who praise you for stepping up will turn around and mock you for doing so. They'll call you a good man to your face, but see you as a fool behind your back. That's not respect. That's pity dressed up as admiration. And here's the truth. No matter how much you sacrifice, it will never be enough. Society will always expect more, always demand that you give until there's nothing left. And when you're left with nothing, those same people who praised you won't be there to help. They'll move on to the next man willing to play the same role. True nobility comes from standing firm in your purpose and creating something that reflects your true self. Anything less is just compliance. Let's take it further. The lie of nobility isn't just about exploiting your goodwill. It's about shaming you for even considering a different path. If you reject this role, society will label you as selfish or heartless. They'll try to guilt you into compliance by appealing to your sense of duty and morality. But here's the harsh truth. Their opinions don't matter. What matters is how you honor your own values, your own legacy, and your own sense of self-worth. True nobility isn't about sacrificing your identity for the sake of others' approval. It's about protecting what's yours. A man who knows his worth doesn't let society dictate his actions. He creates his own path, one built on integrity, strength, and the refusal to compromise his future for anyone. And that's the kind of nobility no one can take from you. Be brutal. Be honest. Know your worth. This is the moment where you have to face the mirror. Look yourself in the eye and ask, why am I here? What am I giving up? And for what? You've been sold a lie, told that this is what good men do. But let's be clear. Good men don't abandon their potential. They don't sacrifice their identity. Good men fight for what's theirs. They protect their legacy, their values, and their purpose with unwavering conviction. The deeper truth here is that every moment you spend in this situation is a moment stolen from the life you could be building. Every sacrifice you make is a step further away from the man you're meant to be. And the longer you stay, the harder it becomes to walk away. But here's the thing. Walking away isn't cruel. It's necessary. It's the only way to reclaim your life, your purpose, and your identity. The strength to step away comes not from selfishness, but from a clear understanding of your worth and the knowledge that you're meant to build something greater than a role society has forced on you. Walking away isn't just a decision, it's a declaration of self-respect. Now think about what happens if you don't walk away. Every day, you give another piece of yourself to a life that doesn't truly belong to you. You compromise your values, you dilute your potential, and you let your own dreams die in the shadow of someone else's mistakes. This isn't about the child or the mother. It's about you. You have one life, one shot to create something meaningful, and every moment spent on someone else's legacy is a moment stolen from your own. Be brutal. Be honest. Your worth isn't determined by how much you can give. It's determined by how much you value yourself. And when you truly value yourself, you won't settle for being a placeholder in someone else's story. You'll walk away and build a story that's entirely your own. That's the real definition of a good man.